Build Back Better. Let's have a look at Joe Biden's platform. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at Biden-Harris, their platform for the election over in the US. Yesterday we had a look at Trump's platform, or his plans for his second term. Let's have a look at what Biden and Harris are putting together. So, I've got this from their website. Battle for the soul of a nation, or of the nation. Build back better. Build back better. Build back better? Yeah. Doesn't have a ring to it, does it? What do you think? Before we go any further, let me know in the comments, what do you think about Build Back Better? BBB. Joe Biden's jobs and economic recovery plan for working families. So, Joe Biden believes, to his core, that there's no greater economic engine in the world than the hard work and ingenuity of the American people. Nobody has more respect for the working women and men who get up every day to build and sustain this country, or more confidence that they can meet the challenges we face. Make no mistake, America has been knocked down. The unemployment rate is higher than it was in the Great Recession. Millions have lost jobs, hours, pay, healthcare, or even small businesses they started through no fault of their own. And he's right. The pandemic has also laid bare some unacceptable truths. Even before the COVID-19, the Trump administration was pursuing economic policies that rewarded wealth over work and corporations over working families. Too many families were struggling to make ends meet, and too many parents were worried about the economic future for their children. I'd agree, a lot of parents are worried about the economic future for their children, and not just in the United States, not just in the US. And Black and Latino Americans, Native Americans, immigrants and women have never been welcomed as full participants in the economy. Really? I mean, is this what they believe? I guess if you're in a merit-based society, what about all the blacks and Latino Americans that are doing really well? What about all of those that support the Republican Party? But I mean, this is the Democratic platform. They're becoming more and more left-leaning. They're not center-left. Not like they used to be. Looks like Bernie won in the end, isn't it? So Biden believes there is no time to just build back to the way things were before, with the old economy's structural weaknesses and inequalities still in place. This is the moment to imagine and build a new American economy for our families and the next generation. An economy where every American enjoys a fair return for their work and an equal chance to get ahead. An economy more vibrant and more powerful precisely because everyone will be cut in on the deal. What do you think? What do you think? It'd be great if he was advocating for an economy where the government would get out of the way. And, I mean, isn't that the American dream? Really, that anyone could go over there and with just hard work and determination, you could lift yourself up. You could climb the social hierarchy. You could make a better life for yourself and leave a legacy for your children. That's not possible in other parts of the world. In other parts of the world, you're born at a certain level and you stay at that level. That's one of the fantastic things about, well, the Western world. One of the fantastic things about the US. Sure, it's crony capitalistic. It's not the best. None of them ever going to be. But at least there's that opportunity. So, in this time of crisis, Joe Biden has a plan to create millions of good-paying jobs and to give American working families the tools, choices, and freedom they need to build back better. Do you think he thought of that slogan, build back? Or what would you do? I mean, you can't do make America great or keep America great. It would, what would it be? Building for tomorrow. Building a legacy. Building a future. Build back. Makes me think backwards and then better. It's all over the place. See, again, this is similar to, because you've got to think about the subconscious framing of these terms. Back, it makes you think back to the past, and then better. So the past was better and building towards it. It's almost like Trump's approach, isn't it? Do you think people will buy into it? So this starts with a real strategy to deal with the pandemic. We can't solve the jobs crisis until we solve the public health crisis. Trump may have forgotten about COVID, but COVID hasn't forgotten about us. On March 12th, April 27th, and June... No, he hasn't forgotten about it. He's got a strategy to deal with it. But anyway, Biden laid out a comprehensive strategy to get the pandemic under control and effectively reopen the economy. An approach that will both protect the health and safety of our people and boost economic activity. He will start implementing that plan on day one. Well, at least he's discussing about strategies to open the economy. Is that even happening here? In Victoria, there's talk of, extending it for up to 12 months. What's the path out of it? What is the path? What are the milestones, the key performance indicators that Andrews needs to achieve in order to say, okay, this is the strategy we're going to use to rebuild the economy? At least he's talking about that, which is good. Biden will also provide further immediate relief to working families, small businesses, and communities. Biden will provide state, local, and tribal governments with the aid they need so educators, firefighters, and other essential workers aren't being laid off. Extend the COVID crisis unemployment insurance to help those who are out of work. Provide a comeback package for Main Street businesses and entrepreneurs. That doesn't sound concerning. And Biden will immediately put people to work by enlisting them to help fight the pandemic, including a public health jobs corps. Wonder if they'll be wearing brown shirts. What do you think? Socialists got to socialize. And they're supporting Antifa, these guys, and BLM. The parties in the States that are rioting and destroying private property and advocating for people to give up their homes and are killing people. The Democrats are publicly supporting them. Seems insane. It seems insane that anyone would do that, but just shows you how powerful and effective the media is in the States. That anyone will even vote for them because of that. But that's just the start. The Biden economic recovery plan for working families will build our economy back better. Whenever America has hit its back against the wall, we've acted together to lay the foundation through public investment and a strong social contract for the American people to pull together and push forward. The Biden plan will mobilize the American people in service of 4 bold national efforts to address 4 great national challenges, as Biden puts it. He'll mobilize American manufacturing and innovation to ensure the future is made in America and in all of America. We've seen the importance of bringing home crucial supply chains so that we aren't dependent on other countries in the future. But Biden believes we can't stop there. He's releasing a plan today to build a strong industrial base and small business-led supply chains to retain and create millions of good-paying union jobs in manufacturing and technology across the country. So, they're in bed with the unions. So that's it. Is it going to just support the union businesses? Or what if you don't want to have a union business? It's the Democrats. Other than that, so the unions is the only difference. Well, Trump's being much more specific, which is tax credits for businesses that come back. So mobilize American ingenuity to build a modern infrastructure and equitable, clean energy future. This is the thing. There's been so many just clean energy disasters, renewable energy disasters in the States. All this money put into wind farms, into solar farms that just aren't paying off. The problem fundamentally it is, nuclear is more cost effective if over a longer time scale. But politics doesn't think like that. Politics is just, emotion, quick, fast, response, get out there, make people feel like they're doing something good. It doesn't have to be based in any sort of reality. So they'll say, let's put solar panels on all these houses. Let's put windmills everywhere that can't be recycled. Let's clear forests to use as biofuel. And people will feel all nice and warm and fuzzy and, Then they'll have their Starbucks latte and post on their conflict minerals iPhone from a dictatorial regime going, wow, aren't I good? And then they'll look at someone and go, oh, hate speech, and try and destroy their lives. That's the world we're living in now. So, mobilize American talent and heart to build a 21st century caregiving and education workforce, which will help ease the burden of care for working parents, especially women. Okay. Mobilize, and I'll let you read the greater detail of this on your own time. I'll link to it in the pinned comment below, everyone. Mobilize across the board to advance racial equality in America. Building back better means an updated social contract that treats American workers and working class family as essential at all times, not just in times of crisis. With higher wages, stronger belief, and fair and safe workplaces, we've seen millions of American workers put their lives and health on the line to keep our country going. As Biden has said, let's not just praise them, let's pay them. A decent wage, at least $15 per hour, and ending the tipped minimum wage and sub-minimum wage for people with disabilities. See, this is a problem. That means you'll just... Okay, the sub-minimum wage for people with disabilities. That's there to allow them to work because they can't perform at the same capabilities as people at a higher wage. That's just a part of life. That's just a part of life. What's going to happen is you're going to destroy employment opportunities for disabled people. You're going to destroy their chance to get self-respect, to be independent. But don't worry. You don't care about that. You don't really care about them. The $15 minimum wage over in the state, cost of living there is going to skyrocket then, guys. It's going to skyrocket. Just wait and see. Or businesses will find, they'll just create incentives to reduce labor, reduce hours. It always happens. Whenever the state intervenes, businesses have to find ways to save. So... strong benefits so they can live a middle-class life and provide opportunity for their kids. Well, if you want us to have a middle-class life, even here in Australia, or there in the States, the government just has to get out of the way. The government is the biggest drain on the middle class. Here in Australia, it's just pumping housing like anything. Such involvement in the economy. So this starts with passing the Protecting the Right to Organise Act, providing public services and federal government workers with bargaining rights, and taking other steps to make it easier for workers to organise unions and collectively bargain. Biden will also address discrimination and harassment in the workplace and pass the Paycheck Fairness Act as the next step in efforts to ensure women are paid equally for equal work. So here you go. More unionism. That just creates a cartel environment where the people in the union get all the perks, and it reduces the quality of working conditions for those not in the union. That's what it does. And in the end, everyone's worse off. In the long run. It's a cartel. It is a cartel. There's no competition. Yeah. The equal pay for equal work. Yeah, no, I completely agree. There's already legislation in place for that, at least in Australia. What the problem is, a lot of these feminists and a lot of these, nutcases who obviously didn't do any mathematics in their gender studies degree don't realize that it is an earnings gap, and you can just see that by Uber. Uber, which doesn't even know or care about the gender of the driver, doesn't discriminate at all. Guess who makes more? The blokes. You know why? Because they work harder and they work longer. There you go. That's called life. That's called life, everyone. Okay? Once you appreciate that, life becomes a lot simpler. People actually believe this crap, that there's a systematic wage gap. Hasn't been so for a long time. Man. So it's just same rubbish that's coming out of Labor here in Australia. They believing the same things. It's not true. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And Rachel was hearing it at her sewing guild. Lecturers who were advocating. This woman was advocating for giving higher marks to women than to blokes. She was intentionally lowering the marks to the blokes and going, I need to help the women out now because they're always going to cop it in the workplace. And Rachel goes, well, no. We had male and female staff, and it was always the blokes that would stay back longer, work longer hours, take responsibility and take on things that they weren't familiar with. She was really annoyed, actually. She had to pull one girl aside that both started at the same time, a chick and a bloke. And he was well ahead of her within a year's time. Well ahead of her. He'd gotten bonuses, we'd given a pay rise. They had the same title. But you know what? He was working at a high level because he had the guts to do it. She just, rocked up, did the work, went home, didn't care. But yeah, no, it's the government needs to legislate. Come on. He's been a politician his whole bloody life. Well, it's a different world there. They really are removed from the everyday. And I think that can be said for any any part of the country. This is probably why Trump, even though he's an arsehole, and he's a bastard. I mean, come on, he'd be horrible to work for. Yeah, so I'm just thinking from an architect's perspective. But it's probably why he resonates with a lot of people. I mean, who's going to vote for Creepy Joe? I mean, there you go. Who's going to vote for him? Seriously. Who the hell does this shit sniffing people's hair? Are these all photoshopped? Or are they real? Let me know. They can't be real. They can't be real. You can't go around doing that. Who the hell... You don't sniff random people's hair, do you? Well, what... Anyway, back to this. He will pass universal paid sick days and 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave. And he has a plan to ensure that every American has access to quality, affordable health care by providing a public option and lowering costs for care and for prescription drugs. So, building back better means helping small businesses and entrepreneurs come out the other side of this crisis strong while demanding more from corporate America. Well, then you need to end lobbying. You need to end lobbying. We've seen the second bailout in 12 years for big corporations and Wall Street. And we've seen the Trump administration provide all the tools necessary to help big businesses and well-connected cronies, while small businesses had to jump through hoops and many couldn't access the relief they needed. He's right there. Biden will ensure that corporate America finally pays their fair share in taxes, puts their workers and communities first rather than their shareholders, and respects their workers' powers and voice in the workplace. And Biden will help small businesses manage through the pandemic and recover so that millions of entrepreneurs can get back on their feet and carry this economy forward. To see this agenda through, Joe Biden will make new, bold investments and speed up the timetable for many of the 10-year investments he's already announced. He will pay for the ongoing costs of the plan by reversing some of Trump's tax cuts for corporations and imposing common-sense tax reforms that finally make sure the wealthiest Americans pay their fair share. Fair share. So he's just going to tax. He's increasing taxes. So to pay for all this, more taxes. So he's talking about one side, about, providing all these services and things and for the small business and for entrepreneurs, and he's up in taxes. What do you think is going to happen when he taxes the wealthy? What do you think will happen? Look at California. Look at California. They're all leaving the bloody state. They're all leaving the state. I guess people just don't like walking around with shit on the street. Maybe it's just an Australian thing. We don't like having feces and shit, human shit around when we're walking in our cities. It must be an American thing. The Yanks probably love it. They probably love it. Oh, look, it's Paris Hilton's shit on the street there, and they all take photographs of it and get it autographed. Today's elevated unemployment will mean lower demand, which will mean lower growth for our economy, which relies on consumption. A robust jobs agenda will increase demand. That is why many economists agree that if we fail to make far-reaching, productive investments, it will undermine not only our long-term growth potential, but also our long-term fiscal situation. Additionally, for communities of color that are experiencing disproportionate rates of unemployment, and for young people entering the workforce, getting to full employment as fast as possible is critical to their futures and all of America's futures. Those who argue we can't afford these investments are the same people who doled out trillions in giveaways to the wealthy and the corporations the past 3 years. He's right there. He's right there. They've just given so much money, just pissed so much money away, bailed out so many businesses. Now they're saying that there's no money left for working families. Joe Biden fundamentally rejects this notion. Today, Biden is releasing details of his first part of his agenda. So there we have it, everyone. Biden's plan, Biden-Harris's plan for the election. What do you think? What do you think? Would you vote for him? Would you vote for him? Or do you think it's just a protest vote against Trump? As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I will see you all in the next episode.